It's the session. I'm your host, Michelle Nicole. In this special segment for Boss Talk, we have Sierra Elizabeth. She is an entertainment attorney in the building. How you doing, Sierra?
Hey, girl. How are you?
Amazing. So Sierra's from, you're originally from where?
Born and raised in Los Angeles, California.
Really?
In Hollywood, actually.
Really?
It's rare, right?
Yes, very rare. And then you went to Duke University, right? School of Law?
So I went to University of Michigan first for undergrad and then Duke University School of Law. And I also got my master's at Duke in psychology.
Nice. So what would make you want to get in the field as in the entertainment business as an attorney?
That's a good question. So my family is actually in the entertainment business. They moved to LA to pursue their dreams, as many of us do. My dad was a former Temptation.
Really?
Shoe-doop. Yep, that was my dad. My mom was a producer, director, editor. She was in soap operas for a long time. She's a part of the Directors Guild still to this day. My aunt manages Lawrence Fishburne. So with that upbringing, you'd expect me to go in entertainment, right?
Yeah.
I went the opposite way. I was like, I don't want to do entertainment. I want to go into a boring corporate law firm and sit at my desk, but get a paycheck every 2 weeks, unlike the, up and down of the entertainment business. So that's what I did. I went to a very, traditional white shoe corporate law firm. And then my mentor said, listen, I want you to start this practice group with me. It's entertainment. And I said, look, I was trying to run away from that. I don't want to do that. And he's like, just do a couple cases with me. I'll bring you along. And the rest is kind of history. I mean, we started off doing a case for So You Think You Can Dance for the producers of that show. We represented Lionsgate. We represented the people that did Transformers and Mission Impossible. Then we started doing some talent stuff, which we can get all into. But the bottom line is sometimes we plan and God laughs, right?
Straight up.
I was trying to run away from it. Now I finally accepted it. So here I am.
Wow. I had no idea. Like
That's
nothing.
a lot, right? I know.
Yes.
I know.
Wow, that's amazing. And then you're also a part of Women in Law Empowerment Forum, correct?
Yes, I am.
So what is that about?
Yeah, so it's an organization mostly for women in the legal field, but we also kind of span out to business as well. And we really try to empower other women by putting on seminars and events and just networking with each other. It's a really, really great organization. I am on the board of the Southern California division, which is the newest division. It was born out of New York, and so they have an annual conference every year. Everyone flies out to New York, and it's really great because, not only are we doing things for women in the community, but we're also really getting to know each other as a community, so it's great.
Nice. You got a lot of things going on. And then you also serve as a special guest correspondent on CNN as well, right?
Yeah, so back to that So You Think You Can Dance case. I had to prep Nigel Lythgoe, who's like the famous Nigel Lythgoe dancer. And as I was working with him, he brought in one of his colleagues and said, okay, we need to prep her as well at the same time. Strange. But she kind of was just sitting in, and she was like, I love you. Your personality's great. And I used to do talent for Fox. She was like, you would be great on television. Okay, well, can I talk about this case right now? Because we got to win this. So long story short, she says, just contact my friend. She's at CNN. I think you guys will hit it off and whatever. We'll see where it goes. It took me a year to finally get a date with that girlfriend who worked at CNN, literally. And this is about persistence, right? It wasn't even like I wanted to do it, but because I said I was going to do it, I wanted to follow through with getting in contact with her. She was a very busy woman. And so I would just check back in, hey, let's try to find another date. Finally met with her at Clio at the Redberry Hotel, or Roxbury Hotel maybe, on Vine Street. And after about 45 minutes of talking over a glass of wine, she was like, do you want to be on TV next week?
Just like that.
Just like that. And so within a week, I was on a live television show called The Jane Velez Mitchell Show. And so it just kind of started from there, and I became a on-call guest legal correspondent for CNN and HLN. Yes. And it's great. I mean, it's intense because the shows that I've been on are all live, and so You get your topic about 2 hours before you're on live air. You do as much research as you can, and then you kind of just wing it. Wow. So it's fun, but it's a little scary too.
Hell yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking. You do a little hiccup, and it's like live.
Yeah, I know it's live.
Have you ever messed up live?
I have, of course. Everyone does. I mean, you watch the news, you watch these shows, and their person's like, you know what I mean? You've seen that. We all have that, but I think that's the glory of live television. Like, people kind of give you more leeway because it's authentic, it's real, so they understand that it's like going on, and it's not. I actually think the audience likes it because they know it's not really scripted like everything else. So I've kind of had that moment where I couldn't really remember what I was going to say. Luckily, what live television does that I didn't realize beforehand is they'll have the camera on you, but then they'll go to like shots of the scene or the courtroom or the whatever. And so sometimes when you're like thinking in your head and looking crazy, the camera's not actually on you. So it's good. It all works out.
Good. So I have a couple of questions for you that I went around asking people, like, hey, I'm going to be interviewing an entertainment attorney. Do you have anything in mind, any questions? And this one girl literally was like, yeah, how do I get one? She's like, I don't even know where to begin. And as simple as that, let me backtrack.
Yeah, no, that's a good question, though, but backtrack, girl.
Yes. All right. Can you explain what an entertainment attorney does?
Yes. So that's actually a great background question because it can mean a lot of different things to be an entertainment attorney. And so you have to find the right one that'll work for you. Really, it's a broad space where you usually kind of determine either a practice area or a type of client that you would typically have.
Okay.
So the types of clients are talent, so like actors, actresses, writers, directors, producers. Studios, Universal, Paramount, Warner Brothers, etc. Those are usually the main groups, and you can switch it into like film or television or music. Usually an attorney will have kind of a lane in terms of that. They'll also, it's kind of hard to explain, but most entertainment attorneys have a background in like intellectual property. So that's copyright, trademark, patents, because that's what comes up a lot in entertainment related issues.
Okay.
You don't have to. I don't actually, but it can be helpful. What's helpful for me is actually a background in accounting. I don't have a CPA or anything, but because I've done a lot of cases that deal with financing of films, I understand the accounting of it. And so a lot of even your talent, you're dealing with, how much are they going to get paid? What is their participation interest? So you got to deal with the money because you want to make sure they get paid what they're supposed to get paid, right? So it can really run the gamut. I think a lot of people call themselves entertainment attorneys because there really is no strict definition. But really it's like, what do you want to do? Like if you, want to get a show on the air, then you talk to somebody who's usually done that before, can deal with contracts, has relationships with a network or a studio. Do you want to put on a show? There are people that have, networks in music or venues, for example, that could be really helpful. You really do need to have a good understanding of contracts. So there's no real contract law, but usually you want somebody who's done a basic contract all the way up to a very strict, contract between a person and a studio with lots of tricky issues. Okay. So all of those things are kind of the bundle of an entertainment attorney.
And you specialize in film?
I do. Okay. I specialize in film, some television. Usually I'm actually going against the studio, so against Universal, against Paramount, on behalf of either people who fund films or people who make films. Okay. So I call myself the money catcher because I go find their money.
Yes, get that money. Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so back to my first question that I asked. How do I find one? How do I find one? Do I hit you up personally? How does that work?
Well, listen, this world is all about who you know, right? I mean, especially in the entertainment business, it is so small. You will run into the same people over and over again. But as a general matter, if you're like coming off the street, you just moved to Hollywood, you don't know anyone, the easiest way to find a lawyer any lawyer, but an entertainment lawyer included, is to go to your state bar website.
Oh.
So California has a California State Bar website. You Google it, it'll pull up the website. You can search attorneys on there so that every state will have that. Every barred attorney will be on that website. So that's a really good place. And usually they'll have like useful links on that website to say like, what are you looking for? Or, reviews or things like that. So that's actually the first place. Like if you don't know anyone, then that's the place to start. Also, of course, word of mouth. Like another kind of way you can do that without having to actually speak to someone one-on-one is Google, like, recent cases. Like, what kind of thing are you looking for? Like, are you going to be in court? Like, are you trying to sue somebody or somebody suing you? Or do you just want to negotiate a contract? Like, that kind of thing. Those are kind of some good tips, I think. If I think of more, I'll let you.
Yeah, that's great.
This is a session where queens unite to share their light.